70603
All right, welcome back everyone to London Her Radio, the second hour of DJ Tammy. As promised, we're gonna start with a special guest interview. His song you're hearing right now, his name is IZ, is 316 316. You can check out his social media at IZ316. We're gonna start talking with him in a minute. He's in Kansas right now, city. It's early morning there, so I appreciate for him tuning in. That's one of his songs.
While y'all was doing time, I got a degree.
This one is called Top Down, featuring Brianna Marie.
You not like me. I was raised much different. Special since an infant. When you're born to spit bars and your songs hit different. I might beat the beast, but I don't hit women on the coast of Costa Rica with my family just chilling. Top flight on deck, tequila with the lemon. You ain't gotta like it, but that's just how I'm living. Instead of all the hating, you might want to mimic. And for the right price, I can show you how I did it. Return on investment, I can show you how to flip it. I'm trying to see a Billy, boy, I'm on a mission. Different scenes in my life play like motion pictures.
All right. Just a little teaser. We'll hear some of more of his songs later on. So, hi, Iz Israel, right? That's your real name.
Yeah, it's Israel, but there's some other artists named Israel. And so when you Google them, I was putting all this work in, but they were coming up first. So I changed it to IZ316. 316 is the area code of the city that I'm from. And
nice. I was about to ask where the IZ came from. Well, thank you for explaining. So when did you start making music? Like, you say you kept seeing other artists coming up. So when did you start?
Professionally, I'll say about like 7 years ago, I really started taking it serious. I'd always, been freestyling and recording and different things like that, but I really took it to a different level, and I decided in my mind that this is something that I really wanted to pursue. So about 7 years.
Okay, nice. Did you play any instruments growing up, or do you songwrite your own songs? Like, how does production process looks like?
Yeah, I do I say probably like 25, 30% of my own production. I write 100% of my own lyrics. And now I don't really play any instruments, not formally, but I do have like a software to make my own beats.
All right. Nice. And what would you say inspires you to make music? Like, do you have occurring themes in all of your songs, or is it changing every time? Like, what inspires you? What do you normally write about?
Well, my recent album, Melanin Suns, just released on the 12th of February, and the song that you just heard by me and Brianna Mayer was the lead single off of that. And so this album is really about like the rites of passage, the coming of age of young black males. When I went to college for the first time, I met black people um, all across, like the world, and I seen that their experiences were very similar to mine, and so I wanted to share that experience and explain from like a point of view like what it is that we go through as young black males who are trying to achieve something in society. And so I do that, and then I rap, of course, and then I write R&B as well.
Okay, nice. So you mentioned, would you classify yourself more as hip hop or rap or R&B artist, or do you make
Definitely hip
everything?
hop.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely hip hop. I can write R&B, I just can't sing.
All right.
Um,
So you mentioned college. Could you share a bit more of like how is it growing up in Kansas City? What was your, I don't know,
I'm,
were you
I'm
raised? What was your
Yeah,
upbringing
I'm
like?
actually in Wichita, Kansas, which is
Mm-hmm.
a little is below Kansas City, about 2 hours, 2 hours south. But
Okay.
um, I went to Wichita State University, pretty known for basketball, a little baseball, but it was a good experience. It's not the biggest city. We're about like 400,000 people, and the black community is even smaller than that. Uh, but growing up, it was kind of tough at times. There was a lot of gang violence, a lot of drugs, a lot of those type of things that you could easily get mixed up in. And I just decided that I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to spread a righteous message to people who are from neighborhoods that I'm from globally, and tell them that, yo, it's cool to think on a higher level. It's cool to be a participating member of your society. And so I learned all those things from the community that I came from.
Hmm. Are there many musicians coming from your city? Did you see musicians around you growing up? Are there many artists that you know, or would you say you're one of a few?
Um, No, there's actually a lot of up and coming hip hop artists here that are really making some waves as of lately. None have broken through really like on a like I'll say super mainstream level, but I think a few are on their way. Prior to like the hip hop era, there were some artists from Wichita that had like a really good run. One artist in particular, a guy named Rudy Love, he's been sampled by like Jay Z, Rick Ross, and Jay Z sampled one of his songs for American Gangster
Oh,
album,
wow.
and so I know him and I'm cool with him, and so he's him and a lot of other people like General Taylor lately have just been really giving me some good game and helping me to get to that next level, and so I take those experiences from those artists and try to do my best here locally. I've really been making a lot of waves lately. In the last year or two, I've definitely become one of the more popular artists in my city. But I think that we'll have our time. There's a lot of artists that I like personally here, and I listen to them just as much as I listen to any other artist.
All right. So you mentioned a couple of last years. How is the pandemic and virus up there? Were you able to perform in the last year, or could
No,
tell us
I
about?
wasn't able to perform, but the odd thing about it is even with that said, it's been the greatest like 2 years of my career. People have been really receptive to my projects in a way that they weren't before. I mean, the fact that I'm on the station with you right now is like evident of that. All the way in London. I actually have friends in the UK. The producer of Top Down is from South London. Actually, his name is Dream Life Beats, and he's done
All
beats
right.
for Two
Shout
Chains,
out.
Wiz Khalifa, Big Crit, um, a lot of people.
Nice.
And so it was nice to work with him.
Yeah. Were you ever? Have you ever been to UK, or were
No,
you?
I was actually planning to come last summer, and because of COVID, we didn't. One of my best friends, she works on Wall Street in New York, but she's from London, and it's funny because when she talks to me, like we'll be watching something, and if it's from the UK, she'll say, "Oh, that person's from North London, or that person's from South London." To me, it all sounds the same, but
Mm.
she can hear the difference, which was cool. So I'm looking forward to it. Um, People in UK have been very receptive to my music, and so this opportunity was wonderful for me, and I hope to further connect.
How did your music reach UK? Was there any yeah, and then the artists you mentioned that you know or you spoken with, where did you meet? Was it all virtually or?
Yeah, Dream Life Beats. I met him actually online. He does a lot of producer seminars and different things like that. He's a really down to earth person, and so I met with him. Then again, like I said, my friend, she's from there, so she sent my music to some of her nephews and her cousins, and they liked it and started playing it. And then when I put it out on the Spotify, when I put it on Spotify, um, the song Top Down did like 350,000 streams, and London was one of the big spots for me.
Oh, wow. All right. What are the other cities that you could see analytics in Spotify or other platforms that your music
Yo, it
came
was
big?
crazy. The UK, Germany, um, Peru. I was like, I don't even know anybody in Peru, but shout out to Peru. That was pretty dope. Of course, the majority of them were from the United States. Um, Maybe like Uzbekistan. I'm like, yo, they like hip hop in Uzbekistan. I'm hot.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so I loved it. But I think that hip hop is a global language, and it's a beautiful thing that people who may have never been on the same continent together at the same time can share something as beautiful, as music. And you could just hear the pain and struggle behind people. You can hear their joys and their pains, and that's international.
Right. Yeah, I guess everyone can relate to certain life experiences. Um,
Absolutely.
Could you share any of the highlights of your career remember right now? You said like the last 2 years been best. Is there any particular
Yeah,
moment that you would call a highlight?
I wouldn't say any highlights. Where I'm from is not known for hip hop. It's not like, you know, New York or LA. So
Mhm.
just the whole experience that I've had being a guy from Kansas that's not known for hip hop and getting the reception that I've had and get to work with. I've worked with like I said, General Taylor, who's worked with some major artists, some of my favorite artists. My homie June Balloon, he's helped me out. He's worked with, Puff Daddy, Biggie, all these guys. And so I'm just a small guy. So all these experiences I'm thankful for. Are you familiar with Tech Nine?
No, not sure.
Okay.
Tech,
He's he
the
he
six
does a lot of
nine,
touring in Europe.
no Tech 9.
Nah, not him. But Tech Nine, he's a big artist over here. He's embraced me a lot. Um, I've done, I've just met a lot of people, and along the way, they've all helped me some way, and I'm thankful for that. I've been able to ask them questions and learn different things to help further my career, and so just the whole experience, just the most beautiful thing is when a fan hears my music and they get it and it touches them and they understand what I was trying to get artistically. I'm a very humble guy. I do this because I really care. I really want to help, and I love making music at the same time. I'm not really into all of the, fashion and all of that. I mean, because I don't think it really represents the average everyday person. You know what I mean? The average everyday person can't
Mhm.
relate to, $500 champagne and whatever. And we all have pains and emotions and feelings, and I try to capture that in music. So the greatest thing to me is when I get messages that say, "Hey, I listened to the song and it helped me feel me better," or "This is my favorite song," or "You're my favorite artist." And I never had that before, but this last project, these last singles I've been releasing, I've been getting more and more of that, and that's more of the gauge how I gauge like my success level than necessarily a number.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's really important. Could you share some of the tips or in general for the people that might be listening to you that maybe are in your city that are following you, maybe a young upcoming artist? What would be your top tips for artists to focus on these days?
Oh, I'll say it has to be authentic. You just got to be yourself. Nobody can be you better than you. I think when I first started getting interested in hip hop and freestyling, like in middle school, it was like if you sounded even remotely like another artist, no one wanted to hear you. And now it seems to be that it's the opposite. The more you sound like everybody else, the more that people embrace you. And so I say you got to be authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And people will see through it if you're not. And that'll help you that'll help you in the long run because fads might change, but if a person likes you, they'll continue to like you, regardless of what the fad is. And so I don't really get caught up in that. I just try to be a genuine person. And so my advice would be genuine, be true to you, and follow your own heart.
Right, I like that. Yeah, I love the authenticity. I mean, everyone else is taken, so what else can we
Yeah.
be? Um, Yeah, so I guess yeah, you mentioned is there any like lessons you learned in the last, let's say, 7 years outside of being genuine and authenticity, maybe like something with like music or marketing or getting known worldwide? Is
Oh
there like
yeah.
any particular lesson that you would like to share with?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of them, and I'll run through a couple real quick. Number one is professionality. Even though I'm an independent
Yes.
artist, I'm not major yet. I try to be as professional as possible because the people I'm dealing with are still people who are doing things that they're passionate about, and they don't got time for me to be playing. And so people are only going to take you serious as you take yourself. I learned about target marketing. Part of the reason why I wasn't doing well before is that I was trying to be everything to everybody. When I found that authenticity and I found my target market and I realized, yo, I got to market to people who like what I do. You got to sell chicken sandwiches to chicken lovers. You know what I mean? Not hamburgers to chicken lovers. And I think as artists, we want everybody to like us, and that's just not plausible. So when you figure that out, when you figure out that um, you you got to just find your niche, you'll be all right. Um, I think the third thing I would say is um, relationships. It's just about who you know and maintaining those relationships. And you can't always expect something for nothing, right? So I appreciate being on your broadcast today. So in turn, when I drop new music, guess who I'm going to send it to first? You're not going to even have to ask. I'm going to send it to you because that's how you build relationships. If you're doing something that I can promote it on my page, I'm going to do it. And I think artists come in with this attitude, that everybody should do things for them. But in particular, in this last year, I learned the difference between what I thought the industry was versus what the industry actually is. And a lot of times that's going to be that wall for people that's going to decide whether they really want to do it or not. And so getting that new insight, what I realized is that the music industry is like flies on food, right? They're all on this piece of food, and then next second they're all on this piece of food. It's like they don't create trends; they just ride the wave. You follow what I'm saying? So as an artist, it's up to me to create my own wave, and then you know the record labels and all that type of stuff will come. And so I think artists get discouraged when they can't um like attract attention to record labels initially. It's just things you got to learn. Man, I sent out like early on as like a high schooler. I sent out demo tapes to like every major record label you could think of. Anybody who I
Did you
thought would
get any
listen to me, I sent
response?
not at all. So a funny story is we had, this is back when we had caller ID, right?
Mhm.
So I go home and I check the caller ID and I see it's a number from New York. So I'm like, finally somebody called me back. And so when I called the number back, it was a bill collector. But that's how like hungry I was. Like I would get off the bus every day
Right.
and run home to check the caller ID, check the mail. And I don't know why. I don't know why I thought like the regulator was gonna send me a formal letter. Hey, we received your demo. We think you're good. Would you like the record? I don't know. But it was an
Yeah.
important lesson that taught me whether um, I was really going to succeed or not, whether this is really what I wanted to do or not.
Mhm. No, definitely some of the golden music business truths you just said. Yeah, professionalism definitely. We all know that those major music supervisors, everyone working high positions, they're getting thousands of emails. They're definitely not going for everything, especially if some of the artists are not properly introducing themselves. There's a
Yeah,
strange title. Some of them don't even add a title. So yeah, I cannot stress that enough. And also networking, very important one. And yeah, there is I mean, it's a popular quote of how much do you want it. Everyone likes music. Everyone's like making music, but then, yeah, really, who's gonna become one of the top artists? And also
yeah,
you
because
mentioned, yeah, sorry, continue.
yeah, because there's times I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote and do things and it didn't work out. And, it knocks the wind out of you sometimes. But that's what, separates those who are going to do it and those who ain't. I took those lessons as, um, I took them as lessons, and I
Hmm.
could have given up. But if I did, would I be here with you today?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a failure as long as you learn something. So
Absolutely.
definitely. And you mentioned target audience. What is your target audience? Like knowing your
Well, when I,
audience.
well, when I started, really learning about it, I mean, first it sounds crazy, but I had to learn how to go use Spotify and figure out what artists am I most like. And then I use those artists that Spotify and Apple suggested for my algorithm in YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, but in particular, I seem to do well with artists like Kendrick and J. Cole, artists like Nas and Tupac,
Mhm.
and oddly, I mean, I wouldn't say oddly, but just randomly Coolio. Remember Coolio?
Mhm.
Gangster's Paradise. Apparently, his fans like me too. So
Nice. Um, what would you say are your top three artists? Now you just mentioned a couple of names. Do you have a top couple of people that are inspire you or have inspired you to start writing music, or maybe to this day are your idols to look up to?
yeah, absolutely. I would say I got a lot actually, but Tupac, um Nas, uh Biggie, um I like Noriega too from Capone and Noriega. He's always a inspiration to me. Um, there's a rapper from Houston named Devin the Dude. You should check him out. He's really dope.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because there's not really anybody like him. He's just funny as hell too, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
let me see. Um, Wu Tang, definitely. I actually spent a lot of years in California, so definitely like Snoop and the Death Row era. But there's even some underground artists like Sibo, or there's a new guy. He's from Sacramento, California, Mozzie. He's pretty good too. And so being from the Midwest, we don't have a particular sound that we're associated with, like a West Coast artist or a South artist or even the East Coast artist in the United States. So I'm able to blend all of those to kind of make my song the best that I can. And I think that Drake's great at that too, because being from Canada, there's not like a traditional Canadian sound. So anytime you hear Drake on a track, as long as he kills it, and he usually does, it's like I like it.
Right. How is the scene there? How is the music scene in your city? Are there a lot of concerts? Are there a lot of music studios? How would you describe, especially
Yeah.
comparing to some of the biggest states in the U.S., New York, L.A.?
Um. Well, just in all due respect to my city, it's really no comparison to those places. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what is. But we've created our own ecosystem here, and I'm proud to say that, like, for the first time in my memory, a person could, complete a full project from beginning to end right here in the city and have a product that's going to be able to compete on the national market. Now, getting that out is two different things. Um, Traditionally, my city does more of a West Coast type of sound, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
more of an East Coast type of sound. And so that's why I spend so much time in New York and on the East Coast, because it's just kind of that natural marriage. But I think the city's coming up. I really got the feeling that, like, if not me, definitely we'll have a breakthrough artist pretty soon here. We've had some guys get signed to some major labels and made some noise, but nothing like number one hit or anything like that yet. Yet
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on it though.
All right. So, what would be your dream collaboration? If you mentioned a lot of known artists, or maybe if you could share some of the collaborations or someone you worked with already that was the best so far, your favorite, and what would be the absolute ideal?
Um, my 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 favorite my collabs, my favorite collaborations I would like to have will never happen because all those artists are deceased,
Oh.
which kind of sucks. And but I would say number one will probably be Nas.
Mhm.
He's definitely my favorite rapper. Um
Mhm.
uh I would like to do a Nas or AZ. AZ is one of Nas's friends. I'm a nostalgic hip hop guy, and so I want to do tracks with the guys that I grew up listening to. You know what I mean? I'm on that. Like the new artists, I'll work with anybody, and that's cool. But definitely, let me see Nas. I would like to do a track with J Cole. Um, I think that I'd actually like to do a song with uh Big Sean. I like Big Sean too.
Mhm. All
Yeah.
right. So, what is your plan for the next, let's say, 1 year to 5 years? Where do you see yourself in, I guess, couple of years as an artist?
Um, I like this album is doing way better than I ever expected. It's called Melanin Sons, and
Mhm.
it's available on all platforms. You can get that everywhere. I also have a website that's iz316.com. Um, about a year and a half ago, I had a very small part in the movie, local movie, and that was pretty cool. So I want to do some more acting, and the sky's the limit. It's been really dope. I think if the reception of this album is anything like any indicator of the future, I know it's gonna be great because I haven't even been able to tour with this album,
Mhm.
and I've still got more pressing. album reviews and interviews that I ever did before. And I'm grateful and thankful for every one of them and every single person that watched or shared or liked or anything or bought one of these hoodies. I don't know if you can see it, but it says IZ316. You can get that on the website as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so hopefully, man, I'll be able to get out, get to UK, come meet you guys, do some shows for you, or whatever.
Right. Well, what is your favorite? I would say, trying to formulate. What is your favorite part of making music or being a musician? Is it like working in the studio or creating the idea of the song first? Is it actually producing? Is it performing or maybe doing other like commercial marketing things? What would you say you like doing the
Yeah,
most, or maybe you have a team that helps you with any of the parts? Because obviously we know there's a lot of that comes into
yeah,
music
yeah.
production.
I don't I don't prefer to I prefer to stick to just the writing and recording aspect, but I understand I had to learn the business aspect if I was ever going to get my art out there. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I think it's the writing process, the writing and the recording process, because to me it's like you take something that's intangible, that's just a thought, and you make it something that's real. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you recorded your thoughts and your energies in a way that other people can digest it, and they can feel the same vibe. You transfer that energy over to them when they listen. And so I love that. I love like the response that I get um from my music. And I got thick skin. If you don't like the song, I still love it
Mm-hmm.
because at least you listen and you can tell me why, and then so I can use that to make better songs. Um, some artists can't take criticism like that. And there's a difference between constructive criticism and being mean. Of course, I don't want anybody being mean, but that writing process, man, when you write something and people listen to it and they like, wow, you wrote that, or it clicks with them what you were saying. That's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful feeling.
Nice. And what would be your like short-term goals? Is there anything up? I mean, obviously you say you released an album recently. Is there any other like plans in the next, let's say, before summer or so, that anything is coming up or anything people like should look out for?
I got another collaboration with one of my friends. He's an artist from Florida. That's pretty big. Um, I'd really like to learn more about the UK hip hop scene. I'd like to do find an artist to do a feature with. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
you know someone. I'd be definitely interested in doing that and promoting it over here.
Mm-hmm.
So really just expanding and just pushing the brand and continue to be the
Mm.
best artist that I can be.
Right. Have you done any collaborations from someone that's well outside of your city? I mean, how would you imagine doing it? Obviously, UK is still on the lockdown right now, or do you mean like
Well,
you would need to come
well,
to the country, or do you imagine you could make it virtually,
oh yeah,
like release a song?
no, we definitely could do it virtually. That wouldn't be a problem. Um,
Okay.
yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. I did a feature. You asked earlier. Well, the biggest artist to this point that I did a feature with
Mhm.
is a guy named Glasses Malone, and he's from California. And this guy has features with Lil Wayne, Akon, Rick Ross, Snoop, you name it. I mean, he's such a cool guy, and so I was
Mhm.
blessed to be able to work with him, and so that was cool.
Nice. Also, because I did ask for a highlight. Obviously, we already spoke about the lessons you learned, but is there anything that you would want to share that was a downside of the career? Obviously, you've been making music for quite a long time. Was there anything, any specific obstacle that you had to go through that you wouldn't mind sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been a lot because again, Wichita isn't traditionally known for hip hop, and so there's that. And then I don't do the same style of hip hop that everybody else in my city does. So there's projects that I released that got no attention. You know what I mean? Nobody
Mhm.
really paid attention to that. I put a lot of time, effort, and money into, and it was discouraging. You go back to the drawing board. But um, out of chaos sometimes comes order. So in particular, I spent like a lot of money promoting my album release party for my debut album. I paid
Mhm.
the radio station to come out and broadcast live. I bought tickets. I mean, they were like professionally looking tickets as if you go to any other concert, you know. Provided food and drinks and all that. And like people still really didn't even show up. And so I took a huge loss on
Mhm.
that venture. And so um, I was at work and I was checking out doublexl.com, which, I often do, and just, kind of reading up on the industry, see what's going on. And I seen an article about, it's called Penalty Entertainment, and
Mhm.
they were relaunching their label. And so they were looking for artists. So I do my research. I find this number. I call this guy and I tell him, hey, I'm an artist. You know what I mean? This is where I'm at in my career. He's like, oh, okay, well, let me listen to you, whatever. And so he still didn't give me the response that I wanted, but we stayed in touch. And it turns out this guy's name is Warren Schatz. He mixed and mastered the album for Melanin Sons. But this guy used to actually be, he used to tour in, I want to say the Ukraine under the name of Richie Dean,
Mhm.
but he was like very popular over there. And even back in the States, he's worked with artists like Dionne Warwick and Carole King and some of the greatest people you've heard of. He even has number one hits. And so he started just kind of pulling me under his coattail and schooling me on different things. And so I say that to say that if I would have gave up at that point, even though I was really down about it, I
Mhm.
would have never met him. And he's helped me so much. He introduced me to Neil Levine. Neil is, a legend in hip hop. He has like Grammys for like songs with Fat Joe and Lil Wayne. Um, my guy that I was telling you about, June Balloon, he helped me out. He's introduced me to so many people. Um, and I met General Taylor. General, he's been such a blessing to me. He's always there to answer questions. He helped me gain interviews like this and different
Mhm.
things. And so all of those things just kind of worked out, man. And you just got to not give up. It's easy to give up, but you got to stay focused. And that's my story.
Lovely. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Obviously, fall 7 times, get up 8. Definitely never giving up. Is there
Yeah.
any shout outs that you would like to give? You already mentioned that people can find you on all major streaming platforms, but if you could just repeat where people can listen to you. And yeah.
Yeah. The easiest way is just to Google IZ316, and then like my website will come up, on my social media will come up, and all of those things. And you can connect me with me however you want. I'm not for sure about like the international code, because I don't really call international much, but
Mm-hmm.
I know the US code is like +1, I think.
Yep.
So if you dial +1 316 477 3600, you can get on my friends list, and I send out text messages for discounts for merch. Keep you up to date with everything, tickets, new
Is that
music,
your
those
personal
type of
number
things.
that you're sharing?
Say what?
Is that your personal number you're sharing to the wide internet world?
No, no, no. That's my marketing number.
All right.
It's not.
Just checking.
But
Should
but
cut
hey,
off
call me
real
if you want to
quick.
be a fan. Call me. It's 316
Mhm.
477 3600. I want to
Mhm.
shout out my homie Shampoo. He works for Def Jam back in New York. Um,
Okay.
he has he has a new website called Splash or Trash. So and it sounds just spelled just like it sounds. SPLASHORTRASH. And so I know there's a lot of different artists on here that listen and frequent your program, so they can go to there and get their music rated. Some of like he's had DMX on there, he had Fat Joe, he's had, because he's friends with all of these guys. And so I want to shout that out because it's a great resource for artists. I'm always trying to share resources for artists to help us because I know how tough it is.
Mhm. No, yeah, thank you. And about more about your music, is it Spotify, Apple, Tidal, any other platforms we
All
should
of them.
add? All of them.
Yep, yep. Title, Apple Music, um, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon. Yeah, we're on there.
Nice. And you said your website is iz316.com, right?
Yeah, iz-316.com.
All right. All
I
right.
like how you
When
say that, Iz. I like it.
Sorry, I'm from Lithuania, so like it's not even my first language to get onto.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you. This was lovely talking to you. I think we went ahead of the time. I was planning to do 15 minutes, and here we are. It's probably 30, 40 minutes by now. Appreciate you
Man,
coming on. I'm gonna play some
yeah,
of your
absolutely.
songs that I have right now, and we'll see you soon, hopefully in UK
Yeah.
and in virtually as well.
Peace. I'll stay in touch. I'll send you a link to the album.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. You're free to disconnect or oh what? All right, so we're coming back to that was IZ316. We're gonna hear some of his tracks now. This one is called Top Down, the one we mentioned.
First class, take a trip. Top down in the whip. Speeding like I'm never gonna crash. Live every day like it's my last. Spent a couple stacks on the trip. Ain't even take a sip of a tip. I got more racks in the stash. Live every day like it's my last.
Motivation ain't never been a problem for me. While y'all was doing time, I got a degree. Wrote a book, ran for office, and dropped a CD. The proof is in the pudding, homie. You not like me. I was raised much different. Special since an infant. When you're born to spit bars and your songs hit different. I might beat the pizza, but I don't hit women on the coast of Costa Rica with my family just chilling. Top flight on deck, tequila with the lemon. You ain't gotta like it, but that's just how I'm living. Instead of all the hating, you might wanna mimic. And for the right price, I can show you how I did it. Return on investment, I can show you how to flip it. I'm trying to see a Billy, boy, I'm on a mission. Different scenes in my life play like motion pictures. Rappers on they drizzy, they some acting. And
First class, take a trip. Top down in the whip. Speeding like I'm never gonna crash. Live every day like it's my last. Spent a couple stacks on the trip. Ain't even take a sip of a tip. I got more racks in the stash. Live every day like it's my last.
I overcame things that made greater men stumble. Regardless of my accomplishments, I try to stay humble. I never been much for being in the limelight. I'd rather read a book while I get my mind right. People hate you, mad that they ain't you. Bring up things that's painful and tell you what you can't do. I elevate above the hate, I'm in a new atmosphere. My career taking off, I'm in a new stratosphere. It's a lot of folks that's mad that I'm here. I celebrate the hate, champagne glasses in the air. I ain't in the slipping, I'm just in the winning. I might sign a deal, but for now I'm independent. I'm on my Percy Miller, cause there ain't no limit. They call me IZ, boy, I'm the realest. You act like men, but y'all got some like women. I've been real since juvie, you can ask the homie senseless.
First class, take a trip. Top down in the whip. Speeding like I'm never gonna crash. Live every day like it's my last. Spent a couple stacks on the trip. Ain't even take a sip of a tip. I got more racks in the stash. Live every day like it's my last.
All right, so once again, this one was called Top Down featuring Brianna Marion by IZ316.
All I ever wanted was a new 600, a big booty cutie and a little bit of money that I was on the scene.
Another one called Rush to Grow Up.
Things that I seen could make a grown man scream. Too much smoking green deterred me from my dreams. Macking on the cutie, trying to boost my self-esteem. I evaluate myself worth by the bulge in my jeans. Man, this little fella with dreams of going pro. My vertical was high, but my grades was really low. My mother tried to tell me, but I was too dumb to listen. Your hormones get to jumping when your body transition. Mama got 2 jobs, pops in a different city. 2 horny teens with no supervision. She's from a single parent home, so I'ma get that visit. I was just a little rascal, whipping out my lizard when I should have been reading or watching Mr. Wizard. Babies killing babies in a rush to grow up. Babies having babies in a rush to grow up. We can't wait around hoping for a savior to come. The strength of numbers, our sons counting on us. Babies killing babies in a rush to grow up. Babies having babies in a rush to grow up. We can't wait around hoping for a savior to come. The strength of numbers, our daughters counting on us. I came from a decent home but still hung with the G's. Barely a teen, having sex and smoking that weed. Society's traps. I was too young to see. Old heads tried to school me, but I couldn't receive the love.
This one is called Rush to Grow Up by the artist we just had a special guest interview with, Isaac316. His website is 31iz.316. His social media is Iz_316.
That was detrimental to me, but God's grace, I would eventually see the traps for young blacks that was hitting for me. And all the money pointless if you still ain't free. And you ain't gotta understand, you just gotta believe. And keep a righteous view amongst the evil you see. And spread a righteous message to all of your peeps. Babies killing babies in a rush to grow up. Babies having babies in a rush to grow up. We can't wait around hoping for a savior to come.
We got less than 10 minutes left till ads. All the new artists, make sure to send me your music to info@djtammy.com.
In a rush to grow up. We can't wait around hoping for a savior to come. And strengthen numbers, our daughters counting on us. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
And the last track from Isaac316 for today. This one is called Let It Go.
Let it go, let it go, let it go. The ghetto life ain't for the faint of heart. I'm far from a saint, but I just want to do my part and do my best to express what I feel in my heart. So much pain and hurt. Where do I start? Images of Sabrina Fulton crying still haunt my mind. I pray to Allah for better times and the wisdom to help my folks lead better lives. I hope my sisters learn to be better wives. And as men, we get monogamy right. Cause when the family crumbles, then the culture do too. And it's
Pick up all the artists we heard today. This one is Let It Go by Isaac316.
Cause if we don't learn to bond, then homie, we through. And I was born in the mud, but homie, I grew. I promise the rainstorms will do the same to you. Can't tell me what God can do, cause homie, I'm proof. All the hate that you feel, let it go. All the hate in your heart, let it go. All the hate in your mind, let it go. Cause it's killing you slow. I'm trying to let you know. All the pain that you feel, let it go. All the pain in your heart, let it go. All the pain in your mind, let it go. Cause it's killing you slow. I'm trying to let you know I always been a big dreamer. I just want to reach my zenith and give the youth something to believe in. I guess we all need something to believe in. It's hard to have faith in what you can't see in. Destined for greatness since I was a seaman. Shout out to my pops. He really was a seaman. Flew from the shy to the peak just to meet up. And his gesture really moved me like a sentimental movie. His support helped me through my bid when I was back in juvie. No matter what I said, it's like he already knew me. He said, son, listen, you just knew me. Without saying the word, I know what you mean. And at that moment, all my anger went away, and me and my pops been close since.
Isaac316 album Melanin Suns came out recently. You can find it on distrokid.com if you just search Melanin Suns.
All the hate in your heart, let it go.
Also available on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and Napster.
Cause it's killing you slow. I'm trying to let you know. All the pain that you feel, let it go. All the pain in your heart, let it go. All the pain in your mind, let it go. Cause it's killing you slow. I'm trying to let you know. If you talking positive, let me know. If you do it for the culture, I'ma roll. If you rapping about love, then that's dope. Cause it's all about growth, even when the process slow. If you feel like I feel, then you bro. If she act like a queen, treat her so. If you water your seeds, they will grow. And if we stick together, then we'll never be alone.
Big up everyone locked into London Her Radio. You've been listening to DJ Tammy every Wednesday 2 to 4 p.m. Big up Kemetic Justice in the building. We got a couple minutes till ads. We're gonna listen to some of the hip-hop tracks. My website is djtammy.com. My email is info@djtammy.com.
Now let's go. As soon as they hear the voice in the flow, they already know it's yeah. And I ain't even in the game, but as soon as something happen, who the first one they blame is. Give me time, you a lame. Stop mentioning my name. Why you worry about? Why? I'm in a group meeting. They took pick from us. Now it's just Luch peeing. I'm the one they call on. Gotta feed the family. If not, then it falls on. Who else? This is real talk. Funeral arrangements. Whoever put they paws on. Who be in a Wrangler? Off-road with the roof and the doors gone.
My contact details is info@djtammy.com for any new artists that want to be featured in my shows to send me your clean music for any promo, interviews, and more. My website is djtammy.com. My social media is @djtammy_I.
What they talking about me? Who they talking about me? All they talk about is what they talking about me. Who they talking about me? All they talk about. Who can go the distance? Who's underrated? Who's the most consistent? Who get the real love? Yeah. Who the girls love? Who the jails love? Jada. Good heart. Lot of lives were saved by. Salute. Bad boy, rough rider. A lot of money was made by. Real talk. Large bag from Steve Style commercial with AI. Good looking. One of the last of the OGs to stay fly.
Body language is the kind of talk I'm fluent in.
Who else you
Why
know
stop
when
talking
that
about it and come and do it then? Written on your face, like yeah, I'm trying to do it grin. Event planning, we just need a spot to do it in. Heading to engagements, head behind the range tents. Fruits of my labor, edible arrangements. They get a little messy. Sweater new, Jay's mint. She say when she done with me, I better go and change that. The sweater, I don't know no better. Y'all don't get it, I don't know no better than this right here, shorty right there. Still giving old boy nightmares, and I heard your ex hated. That's why my text stated last night was a movie, and it was X-rated. Flick called Wet, it only gets better. Tonight we make the sequel and call that shit wetter. Go ahead.
Do me like you know somebody else ain't doing me right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do me like you know somebody else ain't doing me right.
Nice.
I'ma kiss your body from your head down to your toe. Anytime you want it, you just let me know. Keep it ready, so I'm coming in front of Joe. You're so beautiful, I kiss it in front of front. Take you everywhere with me, cause I love to stunt. Money everywhere with me, cause you love to stunt. Hit the strip club with me, make 10 G's. We'll be running out the bag till it empties. Got a temper cause she bad, don't tempt me. Shawty, I'm a different man off the Hennessy. Tryna hit it so good, you remember me. Good like your body, I let it go down. I make it ring like the Neptune sound. You hold it down like a stunner, you done clean that. You hold it down every summer, it's a lean back. Ooh, when you giving me love, you never keep that. You never give me enough, know that I need that. We gon' fuck up the sheets, send them to the cleaners. We might smoke on the way and catch a misdemeanor. I'm a young, I wanna get with you and beat it. My ex hate when I'm with you, it's getting that needed. Cause you're so beautiful, oh, 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 oh. Said you're beautiful.
You are listening to DJ Tammy.
Sometimes you love too hard, sometimes you go too far. No, I won't want you if you need me. Real things do not come easy, no. Never been your average girl, so take time with me, take time. Baby, talk to me with some action. We could find a place for your passion, no. Cool down some more, cool now, please me. Cool now, sinner, cool down, love. Cool now, simmer, cool now, please me. Cool now, sinner, cool down, love. Cool now, simmer, cool now, please me. Cool now, sinner, cool down, love. Sometimes I want you close, sometimes I want my space. Just know I'm gonna call if I need you. It's not my job to please you, no. Never been your average girl, so take time with me, take time. Baby, talk to me with some action. Think I got a place for you.
Big up Kemi Justice in the building.
Someone cool now, please me. Cool now, sinner. Cool down, love, love, cool.
Frustrated with finding the right mastering for your song to a professional commercial standard? New Balance Studios London, UK consists